The dust on Kethvar had not been disturbed for over 50,000 years. Scholar Tirzan brushed away the final layer from the vault door and stepped back. The metal beneath glowed with symbols that hurt to look at directly. His three assistants made nervous sounds behind him. "This is it," Tirzan said. His voice shook with excitement. The architect's main archive. Everything they knew before they vanished. The door required no key. It simply opened when Tirzan touched it, as if it had been waiting. Inside, rows of crystalline data storage stretched into darkness. Each crystal pulsed with soft light. The information stored here was older than most civilizations in the galaxy. Tirzan connected his translation device to the first crystal. Words appeared in the air, glowing and ancient. He read them aloud. Warning: quarantine protocol active. Sector 7 Terra. Species classification human. Threat level extinction class. One of his assistants laughed nervously. "Extinction class?" "That seems extreme." Tirzan did not laugh. He moved to the next crystal. More warnings appeared, each one more urgent than the last. The architects had built this vault specifically to warn future civilizations. The warnings repeated in 17 different languages. All of them said the same thing: stay away from the humans. 3 days later, Tirzan stood before the Confederation Council on Praxis Prime. The council chamber held representatives from 40 species. High Arbiter Velkath sat at the center, his silver skin reflecting the chamber lights. He looked bored already. "Scholar Tirzan," Velkath said, "you claim to have found something important. Please proceed." Tirzan activated the holographic display. Images from the archive filled the air above the council. Ancient text scrolled past, translated for all to see. "The architects left us a warning," Tirzan began. 100,000 years ago, they encountered a species called humans. The humans were primitive then. They had no space travel. They barely had tools, but the architects were terrified of them. A council member laughed. Several others joined in. Velkath raised one hand for silence. "Terrified? Of primitives?" Velkath's voice carried clear disbelief. "Scholar, the architects were the most advanced civilization this galaxy has ever known. Why would they fear Stone Age savages?" "That's what I wanted to understand," Tirzan said. He brought up more data. So I dug deeper. The architects didn't just encounter humans and leave. They tried to study them. They sent research teams to the human homeworld, a planet they called Terra. The hologram showed images now. A blue and green world, beautiful but strange. The atmospheric readings made several council members gasp. 21% oxygen, someone whispered. "That's poison levels." "And look at the gravity reading," another added. 3 times our standard. Nothing could evolve there. "Humans did," Tirzan said quietly. "They evolved on a death world." The architects watched them hunt animals 10 times their size, watched them survive in frozen wastelands and burning deserts, watched them climb mountains and dive into crushing ocean depths. For fun, the council chamber fell silent. Velkath leaned forward. "What happened when the architects made contact?" Tirzan pulled up the final reports. His hands trembled as he read them. The humans attacked. With stone weapons and primitive tools, they attacked the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. The architects tried to frighten them with displays of power. The humans were not frightened. They studied the architect ships. They learned. They adapted. And then what? Velkath demanded. Then the architects ran. The last entry in their archive says the humans were building crude spacecraft from salvaged parts. Stone Age humans trying to follow them into space. The architects sealed all data about human location and left this warning. Never approach Sector 7 Terra. Never engage the humans. Never assume they cannot reach you. Velkath sat back. For a long moment no one spoke. Then he began to laugh. It started as a chuckle and grew into full mocking laughter. Soon most of the council was laughing with him. "Tirzan," Velkath said when he could speak again, "you want us to fear a species that threw rocks at starships? The architects must have been cowards, or this is some kind of primitive test they left behind. But the warnings," Tirzan began, "are outdated by 100,000 years. Velkath interrupted. "These humans, if they even still exist, have probably killed themselves in tribal warfare. If they survived, they are likely still primitive. The Confederation spans 800 star systems. We have nothing to fear from stone throwers." Another council member spoke up. "Actually, our recent border surveys detected signals from Sector 7 Terra. The humans are there. They have achieved space travel. Velkath's eyes brightened with interest. Really, how advanced are they? The signals indicate faster-than-light capability. Chemical rockets for in-system travel. They have colonized 47 star systems around their homeworld. But their technology appears crude compared to ours. Very crude. Perfect, Velkath said. He stood, addressing the full council. Then we will make first contact. The humans have resources we can use, territory we can claim. If they are reasonable, we will offer them membership in the Confederation. If they are not, he smiled, we will pacify them. High Arbiter, Tierson said desperately. I beg you to reconsider. The architects left these warnings for a reason. They were not cowards. They ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. What could make them run from primitives? Velkath waved dismissively. Ancient history. We are not the architects. We will not run from anyone. Prepare a diplomatic fleet. 20 ships should be sufficient to impress these humans with our power. Fleet Commander Korvex will lead the mission. Korvex stood and bowed. It will be done, High Arbiter. The humans will accept membership or learn the consequences. The council voted. 37 species agreed with Velkath. Only 3 voted against contact. Tierson watched in horror as his warnings were dismissed. The other scholars who voted against were silenced. That night, Tierson returned to the archive on Kethvar. He accessed the deeper files, the ones he had not shown the council. His translation device struggled with the corrupted data, but fragments came through. Day 47. Attempted orbital bombardment of human settlement. Humans survived in underground shelters, emerged and continued attacks on our ground forces. Day 63. Deployed bioweapon. Calculated 99% fatality rate. Humans suffered 30% losses. Survivors developed immunity within 1 generation. Day 89. Attempted negotiation. Humans refused all terms. They do not understand surrender. They do not fear death. They weaponize everything, including their own biology. Day 112. They are on our ships. I do not know how. We are light years from their world. They should not be here. They should not be alive in space. But they are here. They are in our ships. By all the stars, they are in our ships. The final entry was just 1 sentence written in trembling script. We are leaving this galaxy. Pray you never wake them. Tierson's hands shook as he saved the files. He would try one more time to warn the council. They had to understand. The architects had not run from primitives. They had run from something that could not be stopped, could not be broken, and would not give up. They had run from humans, across the galaxy. Captain Taeho Kim stood on the bridge of the human exploration vessel, Defiant Spirit. The ship cruised along the border of human space on a routine patrol. Taeho was reviewing supply reports when his communications officer called out. Captain, we're receiving a transmission. Unknown origin. It's in multiple languages, but the translation matrix is working. They're asking for a meeting. They call themselves the Luminar Confederation. Taeho looked up. First contact. Appears so, sir. Dr. Nari Park, the ship's xenobiologist, moved to Taeho's side. Her eyes were bright with excitement. This is what we've been hoping for. Contact with other intelligent species. We're not alone. Prepare a response, Taeho ordered. Tell them we agree to meet. Standard first contact protocols. And Nari? Yes, Captain. Let's hope they're friendly, Nari smiled. Why wouldn't they be? Taeho did not answer. He had been a soldier before becoming a captain. He had learned that hope was good, but preparation was better. He signaled to Commander Jae-Sung Lee, his tactical officer. Bring weapons online, Taeho said quietly. Just in case, Jae-Sung nodded. He understood. In the vast darkness of space, it was always better to be ready. The meeting was scheduled for 3 days from now, at a neutral location. Neither species knew what would happen. The Luminar Confederation expected an easy encounter with primitives. The humans hoped for peaceful friendship, and in the ancient archive on Kethvar, the crystals pulsed with warnings that no one would heed. The architects had tried to save future generations from making their mistake, but some lessons could only be learned through pain. The neutral meeting zone was empty space between 2 star systems. Captain Taeho Kim watched through the viewport as the Luminar fleet arrived. 20 ships materialized from faster-than-light travel, each one gleaming and elegant. They were beautiful, like pieces of art floating in the void. They're big, Lieutenant Hae Jin Yoon said from the pilot station. Each one is 3 times our size. Size isn't everything, Tejo replied, but he felt a knot of worry in his stomach. The human ship Defiant Spirit looked small and rough compared to the alien vessels. Humans built ships for function, not beauty. The hull was scarred from asteroid impacts and cosmic radiation. It looked like what it was, a working ship from a young civilization. Dr. Nari Park stood beside Tejo, her translation device ready. They're sending a communication request, audio and visual. Accept it, Tejo said. The hologram appeared above the bridge. High Arbiter Velkath looked down at them with obvious curiosity. His silver skin gleamed. His eyes were large and dark. He wore robes that shimmered with embedded technology. Everything about him said wealth and power. Greetings, Velkath said. His voice was smooth, translated instantly by both sides' computers. I am High Arbiter Velkath of the Luminar Confederation. We represent 40 species across 800 star systems. We come in peace to welcome you to the galactic community. Tejo bowed his head slightly. I am Captain Tejo Kim of the human vessel Defiant Spirit. We are honored by your contact. Humanity has long hoped to meet other intelligent life. Velkath's expression shifted to something that might have been amusement. Indeed, we have observed your species with interest. You have achieved faster-than-light travel despite your limited technology. Impressive for such a young race. Nari's eyes narrowed slightly at the tone, but she said nothing. Tejo kept his face neutral. We are always learning, Tejo said. Perhaps we can learn from each other. Perhaps, Velkath agreed. That is why we are here. The Confederation offers membership to promising species. With our guidance and technology, humanity could advance rapidly. You would have access to resources, trade networks, and protection. That sounds generous, Tejo said carefully. What would membership require? Simple terms, Velkath said. His smile widened. You would accept Confederation law above your own. You would share all technological developments with the Council. You would contribute resources and territory for the common good. And you would acknowledge the Confederation's authority in all matters. The bridge went very quiet. Commander Jae-Sung Lee, standing at the tactical station, made a soft sound that might have been a laugh or a curse. You want us to surrender our sovereignty, Tejo said. His voice stayed calm, but his hands tightened on the command chair's arms. Such an ugly word, Velkath said. Think of it as joining a family. The strong must guide the weak. The advanced must lead the primitive. It is the natural order. Nari stepped forward. We are not primitive. We have survived and thrived on a world that would kill most species. We have built our civilization without help from anyone. We have earned our place among the stars. Velkath's smile faded. Your world? Yes, we have seen the data. A death world by any standard. Crushing gravity, toxic atmosphere, violent weather. It is amazing that you survived at all. But survival is not the same as advancement. Look at your ship. It is barely functional. You fight against the universe with crude tools. Accept our offer and you can have ships like ours. Our ships work, Tejo said quietly. They keep us alive. They carry us between the stars. That is enough. Captain. Velkath's tone hardened. You do not understand the situation. The Confederation has rules. All species in known space must choose. Join us or be designated as hostile. Hostile species are not permitted to expand. They are not permitted to grow. They are pacified for the good of all. Pacified? Nari's voice rose. You mean conquered? You mean enslaved? I mean managed, Velkath said coldly. The galaxy is not large enough for uncontrolled species to rampage through it. We bring order. We bring peace. Humanity will accept this one way or another. Tejo stood slowly. We decline your offer, High Arbiter. Humanity will remain independent. We hope this will not affect peaceful relations between our peoples. Velkath stared at him in apparent disbelief. You refuse? You with your 47 primitive colonies and your crude ships? You refuse the Confederation? Yes, Tejo said simply. The hologram flickered with Velkath's anger. You are making a terrible mistake, Captain. I will give you 48 hours to reconsider. If you do not accept membership by then, we will take measures to ensure you do not become a threat. Do you understand? I understand perfectly, Tejo said. You have made a threat against my people. I will relay your message to Earth Command. Good day, High Arbiter. Tejo cut the transmission before Velkath could respond. The bridge erupted in quiet conversation. Jae-Sung moved immediately to Tejo's side. They'll attack, Jae-Sung said. That was not a negotiation. That was a demand. I know, Tejo said. He looked to his communications officer. Get me Earth Command. Priority channel. We need instructions. While they waited for the response from Earth, engineer Bomi Choi arrived on the bridge. She was young, barely out of academy, but brilliant. She had been listening to the exchange from the engine room. Captain, I was scanning their ships during the conversation, Bomi said. Their shields operate on a crystalline frequency. Very sophisticated, but I think I can match it. Why would we need to match it? Nari asked. Because if we match the frequency, our weapons can pass right through, Bomi explained. Their shields would be useless. Tejo looked at her. How long would that take? If they attack? I could do it during the battle. Maybe 10 minutes. They have 20 ships, Heijin said. We won't last 10 minutes. Then we need to make sure we last, Tejo said. He looked around at his crew. They were scared but not panicking. That was good. Humans had always been at their best when things looked worst. The response from Earth Command came 30 minutes later. The Admiral's face appeared on the screen. She looked tired and angry. Captain Kim, we have reviewed the situation. Our response is as follows. Defend yourselves. Do not fire first, but if they attack, you are authorized to use all necessary force. Reinforcements are on the way. Hold the line. Understood, ma'am, Tejo said. And Captain, show them why the ancients were afraid. The transmission ended. Tejo looked at his crew. They were all watching him, waiting for orders. You heard the Admiral, Tejo said. We hold the line. We show them who we are. Jae-sung, bring all weapon systems online. Heijin, plot evasion courses. Bomi, get ready to work your magic. Nari, try to open a channel to their scholar, Tirsin. Maybe he can talk sense into them. And you, Captain? Nari asked. I'm going to send one more message to Velkath, Tejo said. One last warning. 20 hours passed in tense silence. The Luminar fleet maintained position, watching the human ship. Then a small Luminar scout vessel moved forward. It approached a human mining outpost on a nearby asteroid. Without warning, it fired. The mining outpost exploded. 3 human workers were killed instantly. The scout ship immediately broadcast an apology, calling it a weapons malfunction. But everyone knew the truth. It was a test, a provocation. Tejo's hands clenched into fists. His crew looked at him, waiting for the order to fire back. But he had been told not to fire first, not to start the war. He took a deep breath and opened a channel to the Luminar fleet. High Arbiter Velkath, Tejo said. His voice was steady despite the rage burning in his chest. You have killed our people. You call it an accident, but we both know better. I am giving you one chance. One warning. Leave now. Leave our space. Leave humanity alone. Or you will learn why the architects feared us. You will learn why they ran. Velkath's response came immediately. He was laughing. The architects were cowards, Captain. We are not. You have one small ship. We have 20. You have primitive weapons. We have technology beyond your understanding. Surrender now or be destroyed. Then you choose war, Tejo said quietly. You killed our civilians. You demanded our submission. You came to our home. Remember, High Arbiter, you chose this. Velkath stopped laughing. Attack, he ordered his fleet. Disable their weapons. Capture the ship. These humans need to learn their place. The Luminar fleet opened fire. Energy weapons blazed through space. The Defiant Spirit's shields flared as the first shots hit. Alarms screamed across the bridge. Return fire, Tejo commanded, and the war began. The Defiant Spirit shook violently as Luminar weapons hammered its shields. Sparks flew from damaged consoles. The lights flickered. Lieutenant Heijin Yoon fought the controls, spinning the ship through evasive maneuvers that would have crushed most species under the gravity forces. Shields at 60%, Jae-sung called out. They're using suppression weapons, designed to disable, not destroy. They still want to capture us, Tejo said. Fire all weapons. Target the nearest ship. Human missiles launched from the Defiant Spirit's tubes. Railgun rounds followed. Chunks of dense metal accelerated to incredible speeds. The weapons looked primitive compared to Luminar energy beams. But they worked. They had always worked. The missiles and rounds hit the Luminar shields and exploded harmlessly against the energy barriers. The alien shield technology was advanced, designed by species that had spent thousands of years perfecting defense systems. Fleet Commander Korvex watched from his flagship with satisfaction. See? Their weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Continue the assault. Target their engines next. In the Defiant Spirit's engine room, Bomi Choi worked frantically at her console. Her fingers flew across the controls, analyzing the shield frequencies with every impact. Each hit gave her more data. The shields pulsed in a specific pattern, crystalline harmonics, just like she thought. She could work with this. Captain, Bomi's voice came over the intercom. I need 5 more minutes. Keep shooting at them. You heard her, Tejo commanded. All weapons, continuous fire. Don't give them a moment's rest. The human ship poured fire at the Luminar fleet. It seemed futile. Every shot stopped at the shields. But the crew did not stop. They never stopped. It was not in their nature. On his flagship, Velkath spoke to Corvex. How long until the human ship is disabled? Minutes, High Arbiter. Their shields are failing. Their weapons are useless. This will be over soon. Good, I want the captain alive. He needs to witness his homeworld's surrender. But Corvex frowned at his tactical display. High Arbiter, I am detecting multiple new signatures. Ships entering the combat zone. Their reinforcements? Velkath sounded unconcerned. How many? 30 and 40? 50 ships. High Arbiter, they are still coming. Human colony vessels dropped out of faster-than-light travel around the battle. These were not military ships. They were mining vessels, cargo haulers, and colony transports. Ships that carried families and workers between the stars. But every one of them had weapons. The Luminar scanners showed something confusing. Every civilian ship was armed. Heavily armed, mining lasers that could cut through asteroids were pointed at the fleet. Cargo ships had missile tubes. Even the small personal craft carried weapons. Why are their civilian ships armed? Corvex wondered aloud. If Dr. Nari had heard him, she could have explained. Humans came from a world where everything wanted to kill them. They had learned long ago that the universe was dangerous. Every human ship, from the smallest shuttle to the largest colony vessel, was built to fight if needed. Because humans never knew when they would need to fight, and they always needed to be ready. Now, Bomi's voice came through. Captain, frequency matched. Fire now. Tejo did not hesitate. All ships, all weapons, fire! Hundreds of human weapons fired at once. Missiles, railgun rounds, laser beams, and plasma bolts. The Luminar fleet's shields flared as they had before. But this time, something was different. The weapons did not stop at the shields. They passed through as if the shields were not there. Corvex had 1 second to realize what was happening. Then the human weapons hit his ship's hull directly. Explosions tore through the flagship. Systems failed. Hull breaches opened to space. His ship started to die. 2 more Luminar vessels exploded. A 4th lost power and went dark. In seconds, the entire tactical situation reversed. The Luminar fleet scrambled to respond. Impossible, Velkath screamed. They adapted. In minutes, they adapted to our shields. Tierson's warning echoed in his memory. The architects had said humans were dangerously adaptive. Velkath had not believed. Now he watched his superior technology become useless because humans had learned too fast. The human fleet did not fight like the Luminar forces expected. There was no organized battle line, no careful formation. The human ships moved like a pack of hunting animals. They worked together but independently. 3 ships would attack one target, then scatter before return fire could hit them. They used debris for cover. They used damaged ships as shields. They fought dirty and clever and without hesitation. Lieutenant He-Jin led a squadron of 5 small human fighters. Against the massive Luminar ships, they should have been helpless. But He-Jin had grown up racing through asteroid fields for fun. She knew how to fly in chaos. Her squadron darted between the alien ships too fast for their weapons to track. They fired at engine ports and sensor arrays, small targets but crucial ones. A Luminar destroyer lost its sensors and fired blind. It accidentally hit one of its own ships. The Luminar fleet's perfect coordination began to fall apart. Commander Jae-sung coordinated the human attacks from the Defiant Spirit. He had studied military history his entire life. Human history was filled with wars. Thousands of years of humans fighting humans. Every tactic, every strategy, every dirty trick had been tried and recorded. Jae-sung knew them all. He sent commands to the fleet. Group attacks here. Feint there. Sacrifice one ship to draw fire while others flanked. The Luminars had better technology, but humans had experience. So much experience. The human ships also broadcast messages during the battle. Dr. Nari had suggested it. Psychological warfare, she called it. Show the enemy what they were fighting. Images of Earth filled the Luminar ship's screens. Humans climbing mountains in blinding snowstorms. Humans diving into crushing ocean depths. Humans running across burning deserts. Ancient videos of human wars, showing weapons and tactics from before space travel. Humans had been perfecting warfare for 10,000 years. One image showed a human jumping from the edge of space, falling through the atmosphere for fun. Another showed humans swimming with predators that could eat them. Another showed a human child, barely able to walk, already learning to fight. "We are apex predators," Nari's voice broadcast to the fleet. "We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every single day. We climbed to the top of our food chain by being tougher, smarter, and more vicious than anything else on our planet. You came to our home. You killed our people. You started this war. Now you see what we are." Several Luminar ships tried to retreat. Velkath screamed at them to hold position. But the crews were terrified. They had never seen anything like this. Species did not fight this way. Battle was supposed to be civilized, organized, with rules and honor. Humans had no such illusions. They fought to win. Korvac struggled to restore power to his flagship. Half his crew was dead. His second-in-command was badly injured. Through the viewport, he watched human ships tear apart his fleet. They moved through space like they were born to it. Like the void was their natural home. Fleet commander and officer gasped. "They're not stopping. We're broadcasting surrender, but they ignore it." Korvac felt ice in his veins. Species always accepted surrender. It was basic civilization. But the humans just kept firing, kept attacking, kept killing. He opened a direct channel to the defiant spirit. "Captain Kim, we surrender. Please cease fire." Tejo's face appeared on the screen. His expression was cold. "You killed our civilians. You demanded our submission. You fired first. You wanted war. Now you have it. But we surrender," Korvac begged. "Surrender is what you demand from others," Tejo said quietly. "You don't get to ask for it after you attack our home. You wanted to teach us our place in the galaxy. Let me teach you yours." The transmission cut off. The human attacks continued. More Luminar ships exploded or went dark. The mighty Confederation fleet, which had seemed so powerful hours ago, was being destroyed by what they had called primitives. Velkath watched in horror from his command ship. Of his 20 vessels, 8 were already destroyed. 6 more were badly damaged. The remaining 6 were trying desperately to escape. But the human ships were faster than they looked. They pursued relentlessly. "Send emergency transmission to Praxis Prime," Velkath ordered. His voice shook. "Tell them to send everything. Every ship. Every fleet. The warnings were real. The humans are... He could not finish. On the screen, he watched a human fighter ram directly into a Luminar cruiser's bridge. The human pilot died instantly. But so did the cruiser's entire command crew. Who did that? What species sacrificed themselves so easily? The answer was simple. Humans did. When they were angry enough. When they were protecting their home. When they had decided that the enemy needed to die more than they needed to live. This was what the architects had seen. This was what made them run. Not human technology. Not human intelligence. Human fury. Human determination. Human refusal to give up, no matter the cost. Velkath finally understood the warnings. Finally understood why the architects had fled. But understanding came too late. It always did. The last functional Luminar ship broadcast one final message before it jumped to faster-than-light speed, fleeing the battle. To any Confederation ship, do not engage the humans. Repeat, do not engage. Send all available forces. This is not a request. This is survival. The news of the fleet's destruction reached Praxis Prime within hours. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives from 40 species shouted at each other. Some demanded immediate retaliation. Others wanted to sue for peace. All of them were afraid. Velkath stood at the center of the chamber, his silver skin pale with shock. The single surviving ship had transmitted everything. Battle footage showed human ships tearing through Luminar forces. It showed technology being adapted in real time. It showed humans fighting with a savagery the Confederation had never witnessed. "This is impossible," a council member said. 20 ships destroyed by primitives? "They are not primitives," Velkath admitted quietly. "I was wrong. We were all wrong. Then what are they?" someone demanded. Before Velkath could answer, Scholar Tierson burst into the chamber. His assistants followed, carrying data crystals. Tierson looked like he had not slept in days. His eyes were wild. "I tried to warn you," Tierson said. His voice echoed in the sudden silence. I begged you to listen. Now I have found the complete archive, the full record of what the architects discovered. You need to see this. Tirzin activated the holographic display. Ancient text appeared along with images. The council watched in growing horror. The story began 100,000 years ago. The architects had been the galaxy's dominant civilization. They had ruled for 10,000 years. Their technology was unmatched. Their fleets numbered in the thousands. They explored every corner of known space, claiming worlds and systems without resistance. Then they found Earth. The planet was marked for colonization. Initial surveys showed a world rich in resources but hostile to most life. High gravity, dangerous atmosphere, extreme weather. The architects decided to terraform it. But first they would deal with the native species. Humans were primitive. They lived in caves. They hunted with stone-tipped spears. They had no written language, no metallurgy, no science. By all calculations, they should have been easy to remove or domesticate. The first architect expedition landed with peaceful intentions. They would offer the humans a place in their civilization. Teach them. Guide them. It was what the architects always did with primitive species. The humans attacked immediately. With stone weapons and crude tactics, they attacked beings that could cross the stars. The architects were surprised but not worried. They used sonic weapons to scatter the human tribes. They destroyed several human settlements to demonstrate their power. They expected surrender. The humans did not surrender. They adapted. Within weeks, humans were using captured architect tools. They learned to avoid the sonic weapons. They attacked at night when architect sensors were less effective. They used fire and traps. They fought with a coordination that should have been impossible for Stone Age minds. The architects decided to end it quickly. They deployed bioweapons designed to target human DNA. The weapon was calculated to achieve 99% fatality. It worked as designed. 99% of humans died within a month, but 1% survived. And those survivors had immunity. Within 2 generations, human population recovered. And now they were immune to architect bioweapons. The humans also started showing signs of directed evolution, as if they could force their own bodies to adapt to threats. The architects escalated. They used orbital bombardment. They dropped asteroids on human cities. They poisoned water supplies. They tried everything short of destroying the entire planet. Nothing worked. Humans survived in caves. They survived underground. They survived in the harshest deserts and the deepest jungles. No matter what the architects did, humans kept coming back, kept fighting, kept learning. Then came the day that changed everything. An architect research station on Earth's moon reported an impossible sighting. A human was climbing the outside of their facility, in vacuum, with no protection except crude animal skin sealed with tree sap. The human should have died in seconds, but he was still alive, still climbing. The human breached the station. Using tools made from bone and stone, he killed 3 architect scientists. Then he stole a shuttle and flew it back to Earth. He should not have known how to pilot it. But humans learned fast. Always so fast, the stolen shuttle was studied by other humans. Within 5 years, humans had built their own versions. Crude spacecraft made from salvaged parts and Earth materials. They came to space. Stone Age humans coming to space to continue their war. The architects panicked. They had fought for 70 years and achieved nothing except teaching humans about advanced technology. Every attack made humans stronger. Every battle taught them new tactics. They were weaponizing everything the architects did. The final entry in the Architect Archive was written by their high command. Tirzin read it aloud to the silent council. We are leaving. Not just this system. Not just this sector. We are leaving the galaxy. The humans cannot be defeated. They cannot be broken. They cannot be negotiated with. They adapt to everything. They learn from everything. They never stop. We attacked them and they became warriors. We bombed them and they went underground. We left and they followed us to space. If we stay, they will follow us across the galaxy. They will never forgive. They will never forget. To any species that finds this message, stay away from Sector 7 Terra. The species there cannot be conquered. They can only be avoided. We thought we were the apex of evolution. We were wrong. Humans are something we never imagined. Something that should not exist. Something that thrives on adversity. Learn from our mistake. Leave them alone. The council chamber was silent for a long moment. Then Velkath spoke. "We are not the architects," he said. His voice was firm despite the fear in his eyes. "We are stronger. We have 40 species united in the Confederation. We have 2,000 warships. We will not run from one species no matter how dangerous." "High Arbiter," Tirsin said desperately. "The architects had 10,000 ships. They had technology beyond what we possess. If they ran, they were cowards," Velkath shouted. "We will mobilize the full Confederation fleet. We will crush humanity before they can spread. This is not a debate. This is survival. If we do not stop them now, they will eventually come for us. The archive proves it. They never stop. They never forgive," the council voted. Fear drove the decision. 38 species committed their fleets. Only 2 refused. Within days, the largest military force in Confederation history began assembling. Over 2,000 warships from dozens of worlds. It would take time to gather them all, but when they were ready, they would jump to human space and end the threat. Velkath stood on the bridge of his new flagship, watching the fleet gather. He had lost his first engagement, but this time would be different. This time humanity would face overwhelming force. They would have no chance to adapt, no chance to learn, just crushing, immediate defeat. At least that was what he told himself. Meanwhile, in human space, Captain Tejo met with Earth Command via long-range transmission. The admirals looked grim. "Our intelligence reports a massive fleet assembling in Confederation space," the fleet admiral said. "They're not hiding it. They want us to know. They want us to be afraid. Are we afraid?" Tejo asked. The admiral smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. "No, we're angry. They came to our home. They killed our people. They started this. Now we'll finish it." "What are our orders, ma'am?" "Evacuate all non-combatants from border systems. Every colony, every station, every ship that can't fight needs to fall back to defended space. Everything else stays." "And Captain?" "Yes, ma'am. We're not just defending anymore. When they come, we're going to show them what 500 years of human advancement means. We're going to show them why the architects ran, and this time we're not using stone tools." Dr. Nari Park stood beside Tejo as the transmission ended. She looked sad. "We wanted peaceful first contact," she said quietly. "We wanted friends among the stars." "I know," Tejo said, "but they wouldn't let us have peace. So we'll give them war, the kind of war humans are very good at." Commander Jae-sung was already working on tactical plans. Engineer Bomi was designing new weapons. Lieutenant Heijin was training pilots in new maneuvers. The entire human military machine was preparing, but it was not just the military. Every human colony was fortifying. Civilian ships were being armed. Scientists were developing new technologies. Factories were running at full capacity. Humanity was doing what it had always done when threatened. It was coming together. It was getting ready to fight. Every human, from Earth to the farthest colony, understood what was coming. And they all made the same choice. They would not surrender. They would not run. They would not beg for mercy. They would fight. In the ancient archive on Kethvar, Tirsin made one final entry in the architect's database. His hands shook as he wrote, "To whoever finds this next, the architects tried to warn us. They left clear messages to stay away from humanity. We did not listen. We thought ourselves superior. We thought we could succeed where they failed. We were wrong. The humans are coming for us now, not because they want conquest, but because we attacked them first. We woke them. We angered them. We reminded them that the galaxy is still dangerous, so they will make it less dangerous by removing us. I do not know if the Confederation will survive what comes next. But I know this, the architects were right. Humanity should have been left alone." The Confederation fleet arrived at the border of human space like a storm. 2,000 warships emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. It was the largest military force ever assembled. Ships from 40 different species, all united to destroy humanity before it could spread. High Arbiter Velkath stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the human territory on his displays. His sensors showed only 200 human ships waiting for them. He smiled, 10-to-1 odds. This time there would be no mistakes. "Scan for human forces," Velkath commanded. "I want to know everything they have." His tactical officer worked quickly. "High Arbiter, I confirm 200 human vessels. All military. Formation suggests defensive posture. They appear to be protecting the colony worlds behind them. As expected, Velkath said. They are brave but foolish. Open a channel. Let me give them one final chance. The transmission was broadcast to all human ships. Velkath's face appeared on their screens. Humans of Earth, Velkath said. You have fought well. You have proven you are warriors. But this ends now. You face the full might of the Confederation. Surrender your worlds and your species will be allowed to survive under our guidance. Refuse and we will remove you from the galaxy. You have 1 hour to decide. The human response came from Captain Taeho Kim. His ship, the Defiant Spirit, led the small human fleet. His face showed no fear, only cold determination. High Arbiter, Taeho said. You came to our space. You killed our people. You demanded our surrender. Now you bring an army to finish what you started, but you made 3 mistakes. First, you assumed we would be afraid. Second, you assumed we would stand alone. Third, you assumed we were showing you everything we had. Taeho smiled. It was a terrifying smile. You have 1 hour to leave. After that, we stop being nice. Velkath cut the transmission. Arrogance to the end. They have 200 ships. We have 2,000. What can they possibly? His words died as new signals appeared on the sensors. Hundreds of them. Thousands of them. Human ships appeared from every direction. They had been hiding behind moons, inside asteroid fields using stealth technology the Confederation did not know humans possessed. Colony ships, mining vessels, cargo haulers, and warships. Every single human ship in 50 star systems had come to fight. Not 200 ships. Over 3,000. And every one of them was armed. Impossible, Velkath whispered. They outnumber us. Not just that, High Arbiter, his tactical officer said, voice shaking. They're surrounding us. We're in the center of their formation. It's a trap, Velkath understood then. The architects had written about human tactical thinking, how they hunted in packs, how they used terrain and surprise. The humans had let the Confederation fleet enter their space, had waited until they were deep inside. Now the trap was sprung. All ships defensive formation, Velkath ordered. Prepare to... The humans attacked. Thousands of missiles launched simultaneously. Railgun rounds filled the space between fleets. Laser beams and plasma weapons fired from every human ship. The Confederation fleet's shields lit up as the massive barrage hit. But the humans had learned from the first battle. Every weapon was tuned to penetrate Luminar-style shields. The same trick that worked before was now standard across the entire human fleet. The Confederation's greatest defense was useless. Ships exploded. Hundreds of them in the first minute. The carefully organized Confederation formation dissolved into chaos as vessels broke ranks trying to escape. The slaughtered engineer Bomi had spent every day since the first battle improving human weapons. Now those improvements showed their worth. Human missiles split into multiple warheads. Railguns fired rounds that fragmented inside enemy ships. Every weapon had been designed to kill as efficiently as possible, because humans had thousands of years of experience in killing. It was what they were best at. Fleet Commander Korvex was dead in the first wave. His ship exploded before he could give a single order. The Confederation's second-in-command tried to organize a counterattack. She lasted 3 minutes before her ship was destroyed too. Lieutenant Hei Jin led a squadron of human fighters through the chaos. They moved like sharks through water. Her pilots had trained in asteroid racing, where one mistake meant death. This was easier. The Confederation ships were big and slow. Her squadron destroyed 12 vessels before the enemy even knew they were there. But the Confederation had numbers. They started fighting back. Energy weapons tore through human ships. Missiles found their marks. The human fleet began taking losses. Ships exploded or went dark. Hundreds of humans died. The difference was that humans expected to die. They accepted it. They had spent their entire existence fighting against odds that should have killed them. Every human pilot knew they might not survive. They fought anyway. A human cargo ship, damaged and losing atmosphere, accelerated directly at a Confederation battleship. The crew evacuated in escape pods. Then the ship hit the battleship at a significant fraction of light speed. Both ships vanished in a ball of fire. This happened again and again. Humans used their damaged ships as weapons, rammed them into enemy vessels, detonated them near clusters of Confederation ships. They weaponized everything, even their own deaths. Commander Jae-sung coordinated the battle from a command ship deep in the human formation. He watched the tactical displays with satisfaction. The Confederation was learning what the architects had learned. Humans did not fight fair. They fought to win. Focus fire on their command ships, Jae-sung ordered. Kill their leadership. Make them panic. Human forces concentrated on vessels broadcasting command signals. One by one, Confederation officers died. The fleet's coordination collapsed. Species that had never fought together before now tried to organize themselves. Languages and tactics clashed. Some ships retreated. Others charged forward. The unified Confederation became 40 separate groups, all acting independently, and humans hunted them like wolves bringing down prey. Dr. Nari Park watched the battle from Earth. She had not wanted this war. She had hoped for peace, for friendship among the stars. Now she watched thousands die because the Confederation had refused to accept humanity as equals. They could have just left us alone, she said quietly. The human ships pressed their advantage. They split the Confederation fleet into smaller groups and destroyed them piece by piece. Human tactics from centuries of warfare were used perfectly. Flanking maneuvers, feints and ambushes, overwhelming force at critical points. Everything humans had learned from fighting each other was now used against the Confederation. Velkath's flagship took hit after hit. His shields were failing. His hull was breached in a dozen places. Around him, his fleet was dying. Of the 2,000 ships he had brought, over half were already destroyed or disabled. "Open a channel," Velkath ordered. "Broadcast surrender to all human forces." His communications officer worked quickly. The transmission went out on all frequencies. "We surrender. Cease fire. We surrender." The human response was immediate. Captain Tejo's face appeared on every Confederation ship's screen. "Surrender," Tejo said. His voice was ice. "You brought 2,000 ships to destroy us. You came to remove us from the galaxy. You wanted to crush humanity before we could spread. And now you want mercy? Please," Velkath begged. "We were wrong. The architects were right. We should have listened. Stop this. Let us live." Tejo looked at him for a long moment. Around them, the battle paused. Human ships held their fire, waiting for orders. "The architects tried to warn you," Tejo said finally. "You ignored them. You called them cowards. You thought you could succeed where they failed. You learned nothing. So yes, we will accept your surrender. But on our terms." Relief flooded Velkath's face. "Thank you. Thank you. What are your terms?" "All Confederation military vessels are now property of humanity. All weapons will be handed over. All species in the Confederation will recognize human sovereignty over our space. You will pay reparations to every human family that lost someone in this war. You will open your archives to us, and you will update the architect's warning. Make it very clear why you lost." "Yes," Velkath agreed immediately. "Anything. We agree to all terms. And one more thing," Tejo added. His eyes were hard. "You will take a message to every species in this galaxy. Tell them about humanity. Tell them we seek peace. Tell them we will trade, share knowledge, and work together. But also tell them this: never threaten us. Never attack us. Never assume we are weak because we are young. The architects fled the galaxy because they learned what we are. You brought 2,000 ships and lost most of them. Learn from this. Respect us, and we will be the best friends you ever had. Threaten us, and we will remind you that we evolved as apex predators on the most dangerous world in known space. Understood?" Velkath nodded weakly. He understood. Finally, completely, he understood. The battle ended. The surviving Confederation ships were escorted to human space stations. Velkath and other leaders were taken prisoner to stand trial. Over 1,500 Confederation ships had been destroyed. Thousands of aliens had died. The Confederation's power was broken. Humanity lost 200 ships and 6,000 people. It was terrible. But humans remembered that the Confederation came to their home, had wanted to destroy them. The price could have been so much worse. Months later, scholar